And hello, this is Eamonn O'Brien, and you're very, very welcome to the Reluctant Speakers Club Expert Series. And today I'm delighted to be joined by Francis Jones, and you are the CEO of Image Matters. And today we're going to talk about a really interesting topic for speakers in general, which is what happens when people see them for the very first time. Are you like a book? Are you judged by your appearances? And of course, that's a topic actually I've covered extensively in my book, How to Make Powerful Speeches. But we have a real image expert here today. So Francis, you're very welcome.
Thank you for having me, Eamonn.
Delighted to have you here. So let's kick off maybe with the whole topic of appearances. Why does it really matter what you look like as a speaker?
Well, you mentioned it in your introduction there. We were always told as children, you should never judge a book by its cover. But of course we all do. And even more so in the digital age we live in now. It's so instantaneous. With such a visual world we live in, we're all making these snap decisions very quickly about all kinds of things. We're making decisions about people's education, their status, their lifestyle, purely based on how they present themselves. So it's human nature. We can't help it.
It is,
we all do it. And I suppose it's not all about style, of course. It has to be about substance as well. But it's so important, particularly for professional speakers, that you make a great first impression.
Well, now let's talk about first impression. I'm glad you mentioned that, because how quickly do people make that judgment? When do they make the judgment?
When? Oh, they make it so quickly. When I started in this business many years ago, it was about 30 seconds. Then it was down to about 15. Now it's 3 seconds.
Right.
I'd even say in many instances, it's even quicker. It's in the blink of an eye.
Yes.
The decision is made because we're surfing the net. Everything is moving so fast.
And what is it that we're looking out for? So if I'm looking at one speaker versus another, what really kind of pushes the dial, if you like, on my first impression? What do I notice most?
Do you notice most? I think, well, I'm sure you've heard of the statistics about how a first impression is formed. The first impression is based 55% on appearance and body language.
Yes.
38% on the voice, on the pitch, pace and tone of the voice.
Yes.
And only 7% on the words. So it's really the clothes you're dressed in, how you present yourself, and of course your body language. Are you a friendly looking person? Are you commanding respect? Do you look professional?
Yes.
Do you look slovenly? Do you look as if you've taken care with how you're presenting yourself? Are you very closed body
Yes.
language? Are you cross-looking?
Yeah.
Or are you lovely and open body language? All of these contribute.
Well, I'd really like to get into that a little bit more, because I think the body language thing is terribly important. So what effect does it have, not just on the audience, but also on the speaker himself or herself?
Oh, it's absolutely huge. I know from working with clients over the years, when people look good or feel they look good, they just feel that they could conquer the world. They feel so confident. So as you can imagine, this is particularly important for speakers when they walk onto that stage before they open their mouth. If they have, presuming they've prepared everything, they've gone through their speech, they've left no detail untouched. But if they feel, I look really well, I know here that I'm looking really, really good, I'm looking very professional, I know my audience, I've pitched it well, I know the message I need to get across. It's a very powerful feeling.
It is, yeah.
It is
But
really.
now, having said that, and I absolutely believe that. In fact, you might be familiar with a fellow called Dr. Robert Cialdini. He
Yes.
talks about influence, and
Yes.
he mentions a lot of studies
Yes.
in America in particular where they looked at the authority effect of what you wear.
Exactly.
So that's tied into that.
Yeah.
And is that something that
Yes.
you'd be able to speak to?
Well, as you will appreciate, of course, as speakers, professional speakers, it's all about influence. As you say, it's about persuasion. And it's very much about how do we command that rapport with our audience? How do we walk onto that stage and say, this person looks as if they know what they're talking about. They look as if they mean business. Or do they maybe a bit of a question mark?
Yeah, question mark.
A little bit of a question mark about, does this person really look the part?
And then there's the flip, of course, because now, of course, you might oftentimes go, particularly for talks in front of an audience where maybe people have a more casual sense of what they should be wearing. What would you say to people who say, well, it really shouldn't matter what you're wearing anymore? Is that true?
Yes, and I mean, in my programs with corporate companies, I come across this a lot, because there has been a trend towards smart casual or business casual, and it's a very tricky one to get right for many people. And people will argue, oftentimes they'll say it shouldn't really matter. But no matter whether you agree with it or not, and it can be fickle and it shouldn't matter, but it does. My key advice to people who are dressing casually or more business casual is, if you're dressing down, you need to groom up.
Oh, that's really good. So if you're dressing down, you need to groom up.
Okay. Yeah, because sometimes in companies, I had a situation in the lovely weather we've had recently, whereas I was talking to the HR director, and I said, how would you describe the culture? She said, well, this summer, she said, it's been kind of beach casual. We cannot do beach casual.
Beach casual
in the office. So
I'm not sure I'd like to see that.
No, and the clients, now a lot of these people weren't client facing, but still, I would argue that dressing more casually relaxes even productivity, because it has a relax. Now, some people will argue, I actually work better when I'm dressed more comfortably.
Yeah.
But any sales trainer will tell you, if you're making your sales calls, if you're working from home or if you're working from your home office, you stand up, you put the suit on, the ladies put on the lipstick, you definitely will come across more authoritative.
I think the authoritative bit is the most important bit, and that's what the research is very hot on. Mm-hmm. But now, what about, if you like, the right way and the wrong way to do things? Because, one person's notion of what looks stylish might be very different from another person. Are there certain ideas or tips that you might give for men or women, whether it's Irish or maybe for people who are overseas?
Absolutely.
When you say, now, here's some things you ought to know.
Okay. I would suggest, no matter who you are or where you are, you need to know your message. You need to know who you're speaking to. So, for instance, if you're going into a tech sector company where the general workforce, it might be a more casual environment. Obviously, you're not going to go in suited and booted like, say, in a traditional environment like, say, accountancy or lawyers or something like that. So for professional speakers, I would suggest that you always go for the best quality that you can manage from head to toe, because you will be viewed from head to toe. So the best quality in your clothes, in your shoes, in your accessories. I would also suggest that you're very well groomed. So that's all that attention to detail. For ladies, it's makeup. So you're not looking overdone, but you have some makeup on, because it's said, I think the statistics show that women who wear makeup are something like 6 times more likely to be promoted than their barefaced colleagues. Yes.
Oh, so who knew?
Who knew? So there you go. And there's loads of statistics like that. So you might say, that's not fair, or it's, that's very fickle. But again, it's the world we live in.
Wow.
Isn't it?
No, I tell you, that's a great wow. And tell me, what about the men now? Not so much the makeup there, but...
So for the men, I think you're familiar with the program I used to run, Your Tie Is So Loud, I Can't Hear What You're Saying.
Yes, I love that phrase.
Yeah, so I think for men, and it applies to women too, but for men, so something that's not distracting. So maybe the tie is so bright or patterned or loud that it's kind of, I'm so busy looking at your tie, I'm not listening to what you're saying. Or it might be for the ladies, jingly, jangly jewellery that maybe interferes with the microphone. So just to think about all the little things that can really make the difference.
And does complexion matter?
Yes, complexion absolutely matters.
Why?
So I don't know about you, but many people say to me, I put on such and such a colour and I feel absolutely drained, or it really wears me out. Or I say to somebody, if somebody says to you, were you out in the Raz last night and you've had 10 hours sleep, and they say, you're looking a bit wrecked, you're probably wearing the wrong colour. So the colours that suit your complexion can be defined by your hair colour, eye colour and your skin tone. So it's important to wear colours that complement your own natural colouring, particularly when you're obviously presenting on a public stage.
Well, when you need more energy. And if you think about the Irish complexion, and we have this beautiful milk bottle complexion, I say beautiful,
yes,
but it is what it is.
Yes.
So we don't look great if we're wearing white shirts and the like, because we really look like death warmed up, don't we?
It is tricky. We're the very Northern European, Irish, fair-skinned. And so we need to be very careful, like colours like black and white, as you say, can be quite draining. And people will say that to you, I feel very drained when I wear
And black
particular.
is draining too?
Yes,
All
for
right.
particular colourings.
Okay.
Yes, for particular colourings. And black, psychologically too, is the colour of
No.
don't come near me, unapproachable. So we need to be very mindful again of the psychological messages that our colours are giving off when we're presenting.
Oh, interesting. And tell me, just as a final thought, if there was one abiding tip that you would give people that makes a difference in improving your overall appearance for men and for women.
Okay. So I suppose...
One for each.
Yes, okay. So... Well, let me give me one for everybody, maybe.
Well, okay, one
if
for
you don't
everyone in
mind.
the audience, okay.
So I would suggest that the body language is so important. It's so important to connect with your audience. And I know this is something you work with your own clients, to connect with the audience, make great eye contact the minute they walk onto the stage, and a happy, smiling face.
Yes.
I mean, it's so important. A smile transcends everything.
Yes.
So it's really important that you're conscious of your body language. It's open, it's friendly, it's connecting, you're building rapport before you speak a word.
Yes. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful. And I'm just minded as you talk about that, the smile and what have you, of course, the appearance is terribly important. And I'm minded of, I think it was Mark Twain who once said that naked people, he found, had little or no influence.
Yeah.
So it's important that you dress the part.
Exactly,
So,
exactly.
We'll avoid all of that. Well, thank you very much. I knew this would be hugely interesting.
Good.
And it's been a terrific chat, and maybe we'll come back and talk about this
Great.
another time.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much for listening in today. This is Eamonn O'Brien, and you've been listening to the Reluctant Speakers Club Expert Series. Until the next time, happy speaking.